going to teach you how to submit an assignment into Google Classroom. So this is me as a student right now, and this is the classroom that I am currently enrolled in for Google Classroom. Now, if you don't know how to get into a Google Classroom, all you have to do is go up here to this plus sign, and you're going to click join a class, and then you're just going to enter the class code here. So you have to get a class code from your teacher. Now, let's say you already joined your class and you have a thumbnail here. So once you press join a class, you're going to see a thumbnail, and that's going to be your class. So if you have multiple teachers using Google Classroom, you're going to have multiple thumbnails here. So this is the classroom that I'm currently enrolled in. So I can see that it's period 1, it's English 9, and this is my teacher. Right now I can see that there's an assignment due today by 12 o'clock. Well, it's 11:54 right now, so I want to make sure that I turn that in. So I'm going to click onto this thumbnail, and this is going to take me into my Google Classroom feed for this class. This is my first assignment here. There's a chance that you may not see any of this drop down stuff here. But that's just a setting that your teacher has chosen to not have. But they can change that setting so that it is visible. I personally will always keep it visible because it just seems like there's actually things there. If you don't see the drop down stuff, all you're going to see is this little rectangle here that's lit up in blue. And it's kind of just a little tab that is easily missed and overlooked. So this is the assignment. I can see that it's assigned to me. I can see that there's a due date. The due date is 12 o'clock p.m. Now, here's the title, and here is the information that the teacher put in there. Okay, so this is usually where there are directions. It says clearly that it's due at 12 p.m. I can see the time that the teacher posted it. I can see the due date here. As long as this is green and it says assigned, that means you did not do it and you can still do it. Now, I'm going to click on this title because I already finished my assignment and I need to turn it in. So I'm clicking on this title right here, and it's going to light up blue when I hover, and it's going to take me to this page here. This is the page where you turn in your assignments. Okay, if you're new to Google Classroom, you're going to get those hints that pop up like that one did just there. But this is where you're going to turn in your assignment. Okay, I can see the title of the assignment right here. I can see the time it was posted, who it was posted by. I can see how many points it's worth. And this points part is really up to your teacher on whether or not they're going to utilize the gradebook in Google Classroom. If your teacher's not using the gradebook in Google Classroom, the points on here aren't going to matter because they aren't going to be giving you real points. Everything's going to be in Aries or whichever platform you use for your gradebook. So this section right here has the directions or whatever it is that my teacher wrote, so I can read through this and know what I need to do. Class comments right here are just some comments that other people may have made or that I made or my teacher made that go along with this assignment, okay? But I need to turn this in. I already did it, so I need to turn it in. I'm going to click on this button right here that says add or create, okay? This side is the important part. It says your work. Click on add or create, and this is where you're going to look for your file. Now, let's say I did it in Microsoft Word and I want to upload that file. Well, in Microsoft Word, you have to download the file to your computer. Or let's say it's a picture. Let's say you did the assignment on a piece of paper at home and you want to take a picture of that assignment and then upload the picture. Well, that picture is going to be a file. Okay, so let's go to our file right here and let's upload an assignment that we have saved onto our computer. So I click on File there, and I am going to upload. I'm going to browse. And I have my assignment right here. So I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to pick choose, and it's going to load right here. And you can see it's loading right here. Okay, so this is the attachment side. So I attached this, and if there's something else I need to add there, like let's say my teacher wanted the PDF assignment and some kind of slide. So I can add some more things right here. So I'm going to click add. And I'm going to add something from my Google Drive. Now, when you're in Google Drive, the thing that's going to show up here, right in the first little slot here, is a thing that you worked on most recently. So all of these things I worked on today, they're all different types of files. So this one is a PDF, and I opened it 3 times, so there are 3 of them here. This one right here is a Google site. This one right here is Google Slides, Google Docs, and Google Forms right here. So there's all these different types of files, but these are the things that I worked on most recently. So chances are you just finished your assignment and you're ready to turn it in. Well, if you just finished it, it's going to show up right here because it was the most recent one that you were working on. So you really don't have to search through your drive or anywhere. It's going to be this first one that shows up. Okay. Now let's say I already did that one and I need to submit this right here. This is a Google slide, so I selected this and I'm going to press insert. That's also going to load right here. So although this one is a PDF, it could definitely be a picture of your worksheet. And this one is a Google slide, so maybe you needed to turn in a picture of your worksheet and you needed to turn in a slideshow. Well, you have both of these right here already attached. Now it says assigned here. That means it's assigned to me and I can still turn it in. However, if you don't actually press turn in, it's not going to be officially submitted. Now, this is what I see as a student, okay? Now, when we look at the teacher side, it's going to look a lot different. Now, just to show you what it looks like when you don't press turn in, we're going to go to the teacher side right here. This is my teacher side, so I have different classrooms, and I'm working on this one. So I'm going to click on this one, and here I can see that I assigned this to one person, but 0 people have turned it in. It only says 1 because there's only one person in my classroom. Now, if I have 30 people in my classroom, it's going to say it's assigned to 30 people, unless I assigned it to individuals and not everyone. But I can see that 0 people have turned it in. So as a teacher, I'm not even going to click on this assignment because no one turned it in. But as a student, you already uploaded these two, but you never pressed turn in. So you want to make sure that you actually press turn in so that the teacher knows to click on that assignment and go through all the different things that were turned in. If you do not press turn in, you're not going to have anything officially submitted that the teacher can see with a timestamp. So if I turn this in, it's going to be sent to the teacher's side. It'll say turned in on their side, and it'll say that it's submitted on my side. And then there will be a timestamp. But if I never press turn in and I only upload the files here and never actually submit it, there's no timestamp on there at all. So if you wait until past the due date or the time that it is due and you don't press turn in, the teacher has no idea when you actually submitted it because technically you didn't. So let's say you don't turn it in, and then you realize, hey, all of a sudden this says that it's missing, which it will say missing if it's past the time that it's supposed to be turned in. Let's say it's missing, but you have these already uploaded. Well, you didn't actually turn it in. Think of it like when you're in class. You did an assignment, but you left it in your folder and you forgot about it. But now it's too late to turn it in. Well, although you did it, you never actually gave it to the teacher, so you're not going to get any points. You have to actually turn it in. So if you don't turn it in, there's no timestamp, and you need to make sure that it's turned in with a timestamp to make sure it's actually turned in on time. So although you may have finished these maybe an hour before the due date or a day before the due date, the teacher doesn't know because you didn't actually turn it in. And if you try and turn it in later, it's just going to say that it was turned in late. Even though you did the work on time, you didn't submit it on time. Now, if the teacher does click on your assignment, and although no one turned it in, here is the assignment here. Well, now it's missing. That's because it's officially 12 o'clock, which means it's past the due date or due time. It's due already and you missed it. So you want to make sure that you turn things in on time. Although I can see the attachments here, your assignment is missing. Now it's red, okay? Now, on the student side, let's refresh it because this was before the time was up. Let's refresh it to now being past the due date. Now, here it is here. The assigned words turned into missing. Now, if I go back to my feed for my class, it says missing now. So if you see anything that says missing, that means you missed the due date and you want to make sure you get that turned in as soon as possible if your teacher accepts late work, okay? I can still go on here and I can still press turn in. Okay, I have both of these items attached and I'm going to press turn in. Now, this will refresh and it'll show that it was turned in late. Okay, now since it was turned in late, depending on your teacher's grading policy, it might not be worth full credit. Now, as the teacher side, I can refresh this, and I can also see on my side the time that they turned it in and when it was. So this was turned in late. So I can see as a teacher that it was turned in late. Now I'm going to click on this student's little profile, I guess. I can see both of their assignments, but I can also see the history. So it says it was turned in late, and I can see the history here. I can see exactly what time it was turned in. So you want to make sure that you're turning your assignments in on time. Now, if you actually turned in this assignment on time, I could see that too. Now, let's go back to the teacher side. Let's go back to the assignment, and let's change the due date of this one. So it says it's due at 12 o'clock p.m. Well, we're going to change that to 1 o'clock. So let's just do 1:59 p.m. Okay, and I'm going to save this. So I just kind of changed that a little bit. Now, if I refresh it, it'll go to due 1:59 p.m. One person turned it in. Now, as the student, if I refresh this, let's say you actually turned it in on time, you're going to see turned in. It doesn't say missing anymore. It doesn't say turned in late. It just says turned in. Okay. Now, let's say I unsubmit it. I made a mistake. I added something I wasn't supposed to, or I didn't add something that I needed to add. Let's say there were supposed to be 3 assignments. So I'm going to click add or create, and I'm going to add another file from my Google Drive. Now I'm going to go to my recent ones, and I have this form right here. I need to upload this form. Or let's say it's a doc, whatever else you need to add. We're going to insert that here, okay? And this is going to upload, and again, I have to press turn in. See, it's assigned to me. That means I haven't turned it in yet. I'm going to press turn in. Here's my 3 things that I need, and I'm going to press turn in again. So that's going to submit, and I know it's submitted because it says turned in. So from there, on the teacher side, I'm going to refresh my feed, and it says that 1 person turned it in, and there's 0 people left that it's assigned to. So everyone it was assigned to has turned it in. So I'm clicking on the title again, and this is what I can see. Now, this student has 3 attachments. I can click on their little file here, and I see all 3 of them. Now let's go back into the history. So here it is. It was turned in at 12:01. Since it was changed, the due date, the due time was changed from 12 o'clock to 1:59. It doesn't say it was turned in late anymore. So this is just an example. No, I'm not going to change the due dates or the time that things are due. But this is just to show you what it looks like if you did turn it on time. Now I can see that you turned it in at 12:01 p.m. But I can also see that you unsubmitted it at 12:03, and then you turned it in again at 12:04. Now, let's say you turned this one in with 1 assignment, you unsubmitted it, and then turned this one in with a different assignment, like you made a change or something. I cannot see the first one you turned in. I can only see the most recent one here. Okay, the only one I can see is the most recent one here. But again, there's a timestamp on everything, so you want to make sure that you're turning things in on time. All right, so let's say I turned in my assignments and I'm done. I'm going to go back to my classroom, and I can actually see here that the due date is gone. So when you look at your class, the thumbnail for your class, if something's due, it's going to say it on here, especially if that due date's coming up. But once you turn it in, that disappears. So it's gone. That means you're done with this class. Although it's still due at 1:59, you're not going to see it on your thumbnail. Okay? Now, let's say that you didn't turn it in. I'm going to unsubmit it. And I officially did not turn it in. Now, I'm going to go back to my classes, and the due date is back. So it says it's due today. That's kind of a reminder like, hey, you need to get this done. So once you turn it in, this is going to go away. But if there's multiple things that are due, you want to make sure you're addressing each one of them. So let's say our assignment is on plot. I have a question for my teacher, and I'm going to ask a question right here in the private comments. That means it's only going to the teacher. So what is plot? Let's say I have that question for my teacher. This isn't usually the best place to ask questions, so I just want to make that clear, but just know that this is available. I have this question for my teacher, and I'm going to submit it. This is a private comment, so only the teacher can see it, and I can see it right here. Now, I, as a teacher, will go back to the assignments, and I'm going to refresh the page, and I'm going to go to all of the student work. So here's all of my students right here. Again, there's only one because there's one person in my class. If there were 35 kids, the teacher would see 35 blocks here. The only ones that we'll see up at the front are the ones who turned it in. If you didn't turn it in, you're going to be all the way at the bottom underneath those 34 other kids. So you want to make sure that you actually press turn in, okay? Now, this is the assignment where they turned it in. And over here is your little profile. So if you ask a question, I can see your question right here. So usually when I'm grading assignments, I'm going to click on the assignment here and it's just going to open up the attachments. So I can see all 3 different attachments here. But to be honest, I tend to not look at questions on the side. So a lot of teachers may not look at them either. It's very easy to overlook. As you can see, there's lots of stuff to do that we have to focus on. So if a teacher is grading things up here, and I don't use the Google Classroom Gradebook, so I'm not even going to put a grade in here, or maybe I'm just going to put 10 automatically, but that's not your real grade. This is kind of just overlooked for me, so I'm not even really looking down here. So a lot of teachers may not look over here either, especially if they're not using the Google Classroom Gradebook. So with that said, the comment section here may not be the best way to get in contact with your teacher. Most teachers would be a whole lot easier to get a hold of if you send them an email. But this is just how you turn in your assignments. If you ever make a mistake, you can unsubmit, and just remember that there's going to be a timestamp there. So if you resubmit, it might be considered late again if you pass that time period. So just make sure when you're uploading things, you're uploading whatever it needs to be uploaded and you're pressing turn in, okay? So again, this is how you turn in an assignment on Google Classroom. If you have any questions on this video or you need help, please let me know down in the comments below and I will let you know any answers that I come up with.